Hi, and first of all, Merry Christmas. Here's some images I've taken of the R200. Firstly, the whole lot stripped down, and a few close-ups of the rust on the chassis, top and bottom of the front edges and around the battery compartment. And I did strip all that back, as you'll see. Now this is something unusual. The following photos are WOODWORM. It's the first Roberts that's got like a vinyl covering that I've ever seen with WOODWORM, but this one was absolutely riddled with it and took a fair bit of sorting. So anyway, let's get on with the rest of the video. Okay, joining me just for a quick update on what I'm up to. Got this R200 that had the WOODWORM. I'm just in the process of PVAing back some of the leather cloth that's pulling away. It looks like it's got pocks at the moment because I've actually filled these holes with like an expanding filler. So when that goes off, I'm going to chop those off, just sand it lightly, and then I'm going to go over it with a coat of blue shoe polish. Not shoe polish, but shoe protector, like, what do you call it? Shoe cream, even. I'm just trying to see, I was going to just tack this top bit back on. Here we go. Yes, I'm just tacking on this top bit now. Just using some craft PVA, nothing fancy. Just where the leather cloth has got damp at some stage and pulled away. This stuff sets clear as well, so it's quite forgiving. And if you do go a little bit over, then you can easily wipe it off with damp cloth, which is good news. So I am going to be going a bit over because I want to make sure it's stuck properly. So you can see roughly what I'm up to anyway. But yeah, I've already glued this bottom piece down here because this was quite badly lifted just here. So let that go off a bit, and I'm going to hit that with a bit of water before it fully dries. Once this goes tacky, it's almost like impact adhesive. It's quite good stuff. So I've done a couple hackers with this stuff. So it's just one I bought in the local hobby shop. Nothing fancy. Right, let's put the top back on that a minute. So I'll make sure it's on both bits of the material. So I think this edge is what stopped the chassis coming out. It did not want to come out. So we've got a couple clamps on it there, a couple bits of wood. It probably will try and stick to that, but peel it off this way, it should be fine. And there's just a little tiny bit actually on this back panel here. Up in this corner it's lifted. Let's just do that as well. Quite good for filling in small gaps as well, this stuff. Okay, well I've knocked off all the top of the filling that I've put in there, and it's set up real hard, which is nice. So you just see these like white dots in it at the moment, which is the filler. I don't think I would recommend it, to be fair, because you're going to use a tube of it just on, I mean, it sets like bloody instantly. So I think you need something that's going to set a little bit longer. Literally sets in seconds. So no sooner have you pushed it out the nozzle's actually set hard. so I ended up having to squeeze it out onto a piece of plastic, and I had to use a cocktail stick to quickly mix it and poke it in the holes. I mean, it's really, I suppose it's for putting fixings into walls. It's this stuff here, which is an injection filler. It comes with injector nozzles and that, but I don't know if you saw that there. Just got it from the local Lidl store, German supermarket. Some good stuff in there. I mean, it was only $2.99, well worth a try. It has worked, but I'm going to have to fill it again in a couple places, I think. I'll see what the polish takes it like, but the sides and everything's come out perfect. Yeah, really good. Top one's really good. I just give them a very light sand before I put the shoe cream on. This should have set up by now, hopefully. It's not long once it's tacky. Yeah, that's set nicely. Very nice. Right, so I'm going to let all that dry off now, and join me again for the next instalment, which is going to be cleaning this up and getting some shoe cream on it. Okay, well, the case is coming on quite nicely now. I've repainted the Roberts badge on the front with some chrome paint, which is about the only thing that'll do it, which is this stuff. I've tried all sorts of other things, but this seems to be like the most chromy. Don't know if you can still get it, but it's plastic coat enamel. So yeah, I've done that, which has come up nice because it was all yellow where the chrome had worn off. As you can see, it's almost impossible to see where I've filled the holes, which is great news. You can see a couple on the side there, but as I say, all I've done at the moment is just put a couple coats of shoe cream on it and let it set. Now there's a patch on the top here where the surface is worn off, so I need to build up some cream on that, but nothing too bad. Okay, well, I've finished the chassis now. That's all ready to go back in. I've screwed the retaining nuts on the on-off switch and the volume switch. Put the marker back on. That's all fine. Just got to give the speaker a clean up, and then it's ready to go back in the case. But before I can do that, I need to clean this top panel. So what I'm going to do is go over it with my plastic polish. So I'm going to get that in a minute. As these Roberts Perspex ones are made of quite hard perspex. It's pretty good. It doesn't you don't get really any deep scratches in it. I'm sure people have got them with deep scratches, but all the ones I've got just got very fine scratching. So all I'm going to use is a fine scratch remover on it. Again, you've probably seen this a million times, but just going to put a little bit on there. I'm just going to work it in with circular motions. So I'll do that probably for the next half an hour. So join me in a minute and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm about to put the knobs back on. I just thought I'd show you what I was up to. I've actually got these stainless steel nuts and Allen key grub screws. Now the original ones are in a pretty poor state actually. Where are they? Yeah, they're soaking at the moment in a bath of WD-40, and they're, to be fair, they're a bit gone over. So I decided to put stainless steel fittings in so they won't rust like the old ones. You've got three knobs on the R200 and the R300, and you notice one of them's got like a little black dot at the top. Now that's the pointer knob for the on, the off, medium wave, long wave. The other two haven't got a pointer on, haven't got this little dot. So this one's black. Some of the Dynatrons have got a gold coloured dot on them, which is rather nice. So yeah, this is the last one, so I'm just going to pop a nut in there, just catch it up. So it's important not to over tighten these. Now I have had to replace one of these because the bottom was broken on it. It was cracked right across here, as is usual when people over tighten them. So I'm going to tighten them up enough to turn them, and the owner has got some new brights to go on top, so I'll be fitting those after I've reinstalled this in the case, because I don't want to scratch it when I'm trying to put it back in. So I'm just going to put these back on now and get it back in the chassis. Okay, I'm just putting it back in the chassis. Roberts have got this weird system with these wedges. Basically this one is totally delaminated. It was just in pieces, so I've had to glue it and clamp it back together. But yeah, basically they just sit in each side, press against the metal, and then you just screw them in to secure them. Inevitably the ferrite rod's in the way, so you can't really screw them very well, but it seems to work. The Roberts R200 is exactly the same. So I've got to remake the hole in this one. It's covered up with wood glue now. There we go. So I'm just going to give them a little tap in place. And screw them back in. Hopefully. Got him. Doesn't need to be mega tight, it's just to stop it dropping back out again. And this one the same. There we are, back in the chassis. I suppose the next thing to do before we do anything else is pop a battery in and see if it's working still. Just pop that off.
A man from Bury has been found guilty of possessing explosives with intent.
Oh yes, it still works. Right. Okay, so I've got to get the hinge on next, and again I think I'm going to have to give the chap some new screws for this, because it's pretty rough what's in there. Just this big pile of rust at the moment. So I'm going to give that a little polish up first. I'm going to screw it back. Yeah, I'm just going to give this a little bit of brasso a minute, just to clean it up. I don't think this is actual brass, I think it's just plated steel. So just to get some of the tarnish off really. That's come up quite nice actually. I'm sure Richard will be very happy with this one when he gets it back, which won't be very long, hopefully. Right, let's give that a little squirt of WD. Well, I decided to go with the brass screws in the end on the hinge. Just finishes it off a bit nicer. The old screws, I could have used them, but they'd have had to be sanded and all sorts. So it'd take me longer to do that than it would just stick 8 screws in it. I'm just in the process of putting back the turntable. I took this off because it wouldn't turn at all. It's real cranky, but now it's a lot better. I've just soaked it in WD-40, run it around quite a few times. You've got 3 screws that secure this in. You just line up the hole with the screw and in he goes. Again, do not over tighten this. It's like a hard plastic material, like sort of almost like Bakelite. If you over tighten it, you'll break it. So no need to have that hammered up real tight at all. So next up then, let's get the back door on. That's here, ready to go. Again, nicely de-woodwormed and cleaned. Hopefully this is not boring you to death, me screwing a hinge in. It does look a lot better with the brass screws though. Why, well, I was going to say why Roberts didn't use brass screws, I don't know, but it's all cost saving I suppose. Yeah, that screw's just turning round and round, so we need to put a little bit of wood in there. So all I'm going to do is just break off bit of cocktail stick and drop it in the hole. Give the screw something to bite on. He says. A little bit in that one. Hopefully. Right, let's try them again. That's better. There we are. Should hopefully shut. Yep. Right, got to solder the external aerial cable back on. Right, well, the owners managed to get hold of these lovely shiny new brights, which I'm going to put on. I'm going to use this stuff which I bought in to fix another radio, but it's looks like it's quite good stuff. Servicol, silicone. Just trying to get it so it'll come out the end, because the guy that makes these reckons it needs to be like bathroom sealant. Well, this stuff is non-corrosive, so I'm hoping it's going to be just the job if I can get it to come out the hole. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little squirt on the middle. So I'm going to drop these on. Screw that back on before it dries up. It's non-corrosive, so that's the main thing. Because this is brass, if you use, I suppose, any like super glue, it'll probably eat its way through it, that's better. I'm just going to centre them up a bit. There we are. I'll leave them to set off now. Okay, I'm just about to wrap this radio up pretty much. Just all the brights are set on now. Everything's working. The owner, to finish this off, has asked me for a PP9 battery pack, so I've done one. So basically I want to have a quick try of this. So it's two 6 AA holders wired in parallel to give me 9 volts with extra capacity. So I'm going to stick some batteries in now. And it means 12 batteries. You could stick rechargeables in. You'll be down on voltage, but it will still work. You could put an 8 cell holder in there, but I think it might be a bit over voltage when they're initially charged. So I'm not really promoting that. Not that it'll probably hurt a lot, but it's got germanium output transistors and they are susceptible to heat and excess current, all that sort of thing, so probably best to stick with the 9 volts. So let's pop these in. So that's my 2 holders. So they just slide in there like that. And should go. So make sure we don't jam the cables on top, otherwise it won't shut properly, like that. There we go. Let's get the multimeter. Just check the voltage, which hopefully is correct, and I haven't wired anything up wrong. Untangle the wires. Nine and a half volts. There you go. I mean, that battery should last a long time. So let's pop it in. Speaker wire out the way. It's pretty heavy. I'm going to need to bend this tab down a little bit. It's not really quite there. Let's give that a little bend. Now I've got the wires caught up. There we go. In she goes. Let's turn them on.
Much more the old-fashioned cinemas. We were expected to do lots of work down at the beach store. She's no longer here.
Was there a... with a laddie a couple of months back? He's on the line, he's got in touch with the programme, because before I was asking, now there's not going to be a French First Lady and the manual.
There was a lot of debate, how tall should it be, you know, should he have his hair, but ultimately it came down to, you know, can we create drama and excitement, and how do we use this?
Who achieved her dream target weight this morning, and Catherine Rogers, who achieved her dream target weight of 9.
So there we are, up and running. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean up. Cool. Take my batteries out, and this is on its way back.